Welcome to Covert with Narcissist 101. Thank you for joining me. And if you haven't subscribed, guys, please do. Don't forget to like and share as well. Guys, today's topic is do the kids believe the covert narcissist? Do the kids believe the covert narcissist? What I mean by that is, do they believe the lies and the manipulations and the things as, this going? This is something that definitely you might experience. So if you're already experiencing it, I did experience that in the beginning, and I think I know, why this was. Guys, you remember that when you are with these people, like I mentioned before, you kind of shield the kids from different things, and I mean by whenever the covert narcissist doesn't come through, you always step in. You always step in even without thoughts. You always have some kind of plan, So no matter how the covert narcissist plans ahead with the kids of how they're doing this and doing that, blah, 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 if it doesn't happen, there's some kind of easy blending into your own plan that the kids probably do not see that actually did not materialize from what they told them, but you stepped in to do it. And you do this so many times, of course, to keep the peace, to keep the kids happy, for things to move along. So over the time, as kids are growing up, you always stepping in, and it looked like things are flowing. The covert narcissist is coming through with whatever it is they said they're going to do, say, or whatever, but it was just you in the middle. Yeah, you're shooting the kids. That's why when eventually you step out of the way, it's usually see the, eventually anyway, see the covert narcissist for who they are, So why I think this happens, guys, is it's almost like a defense mechanism. I know in my children's kids is almost like they don't want to believe that that person doesn't really care or love them as much. We find it hard to believe that is true, but when we align what actually loving a child means, caring for a child means to what the covert narcissist we're dealing with is doing, we know. But we're not going to tell the kids that, of course. You're not going to go ahead and tell, no, he doesn't love you. She doesn't love you. Really doesn't love you. She's just acting. No, those are things that they will eventually figure out on their own when the actions don't line up with words. But in the beginning, they will try to, the kids anyway, try to not see this. Is like I said, it's almost like a defense mechanism thing, because how could their dad not love them? How could their mom not love them? So how could they not care? So you will see kids, believing that they do care. So there's no, if they do something, they make excuses for them. If they do, they don't come through with certain things, it's always because of this. Because why else would they do it? Why else would they not do it? They love me, so of course they're gonna do what they're gonna do. So if they didn't do it, then something must have stopped them from happening. And remember, while you are living with them, you always fill in that gap. They always think things eventually happens. They don't know you step in to finish this. So they think that's how it is. They don't know this has been ongoing for a long time, that they never really come through with anything, So what do you do in a situation like this? Of course, it's you counter actions. You counter actions, because no matter what that covert narcissist says, you always have follow up with actions. Because that's what you've been doing. You counter with actions, not words. You don't go toe to toe with the lies that they're telling, because it's ongoing. They keep telling the lies, because what you end up hearing over there is you being on defense, and especially this is the third one, where if your emotions are not in check, if your emotions are not in check, you are always, angrily trying to show your point of view, clear your point, or to make them understand. And so all this go hand in hand, where you're trying to defend this, because you defend the lies that the covert narcissist is saying. But what the kid thinking is that, they're fighting. Remember in my video I said, how the kids watch the covert narcissist, how they eventually see them is where you have no pushback from you in terms of arguing with the kids, trying to yell, your emotions out of control. You are going toe to toe with whatever lie the covert narcissist manufactured for that day, for that week. You're going back to back, because once you understand, of course, that it doesn't matter what these people are saying, there's nothing to defend. So when your child or children come to you, they get nothing back from you, So you're consistent with efforts. So I remember when well, let me finish this one. You're consistent with efforts, of trying to do what needs to be done, not what needs to be said, because that is completely still the covert narcissist. The last one I'm trying to tell you guys is that let the kids realize with practical examples, of things, because you can say so much to a child. Like I said, a child that's trying to hold on to the fact that there's no way my dad doesn't care, there's no way my mom doesn't really care, would always find excuses. They would make excuses at the beginning of why they didn't show up for the practice again, why they didn't show up for the recital, why they missed the birthday 6 days in a row. There's always something, because what else would it be? It couldn't be because they don't care. But we know they don't care. We know that they don't love them. They don't care enough to make that effort because they can't look beyond themselves. So you see, with practical example, and I give you this. When my son used to play one of those video games or whatever it is, Roblox, or whatever the other one is, I could never get, they laugh at me and I could never get it right. And this was right after the whole thing was over, and your covert narcissist is in the love bomb phase. So if you know, nobody else matters in that stage. Nobody mattered before, but in that particular stage, with the new supply, nobody else matters. So he kept on, which the narcissist now, kept on promising him every time, oh, I'm gonna buy you this. I believe it was that Roblox or Minecraft or something. One of those things I know they buy something with it. And he always, wants to, oh, I promise, I'm going to get you this. I'm going to buy this for you and send you the whatever points what I used to play it again. While he was here, by the way, that was going on. But I always end up, oh, yeah, oh, that probably didn't forgot to get it, and I'll get it. That's why he was still here. So when he now moved out, the same story continues, where, oh, I'll get it, I'll get it for you. But it never happens. Matter of fact, 2 days after, if he follows through with asking, oh, where is that at? He'll go into the story of why are you playing this? You're supposed to be concentrating with school, this and that. So he will find a reason, just like they do with adults. He will find a reason now to almost gaslight you, like you didn't they did promise to give you this, and you're just all you're doing was trying to follow through. Like, hey, you say you're gonna give me this, I still don't have it, So, but every time, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy this, because at that time he was missing visits, he was missing spring break, he was missing this. Why? Because all those times were spent with, solidifying the relationship in quote. In the love bomb phase with the new supply. So his atonement, guys, is to promise all these things. I'll take you guys to McDonald's. I'll take you guys to this. None of that happens. Like I said, while you're in the relationship, I always, step in and go do those things. That's what I did. So it looked like they were supposed to go to McDonald's that day, even though he said he wouldn't take him. He didn't take him. So mom took them. So it almost looked like, oh, they still got what they wanted that day. But now that I'm out of the way, he promises all this. I don't follow through anymore. So it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to buy you this and buy you that. So when I've been by, showing them practical examples, because there's something that really teaches you about patterns and watching things, repeat themselves over and over again. So before you jump into save the day, but now, so I'm looking at them like, okay, so he said he was going to give you this when? Oh, it was on Monday. I said, okay, well, we'll just mark it down on the calendar. I mean, he probably send it, tomorrow. No. So this happens every single time a week goes by. When they now check and say, oh, Dad, you didn't send this. Oh, then that's when he'll, find some kind of reason why you should have been studying, going to school, doing this and that. You don't have time for game. So that it never comes through. So the next time he does something else, he will find the new atonement of, oh, I'm going to give you this and give you that. I say, oh, okay, well, that's good. I don't. So when it comes like, Mom, could you give us that? He didn't, I think Dad forgot Dad forgot to send us this. I said, no, that's what he promised you. He will give it to you. I didn't promise you. He will give it to you. So of course, they mark it down. So they write it down. It's on Sunday, right? Yeah, just give me a couple of days. He might. No, of course they now see this. So the next time he shows up with, I'm gonna buy this and get that. I'm gonna send you guys $20, blah 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 for this, and then you see my son finish and hang up the phone, and I say, well, what's going on? Well, I mean, he's saying the same thing he always says. He said he was gonna get the $20 and he's not gonna get it. I said, oh, Well, we know he's telling his children, we know that's not going to happen. So they come to the realization on their own by following patterns. On my case, this is what I did, especially in that particular with that game thing, was showing them how he doesn't follow through. Originally, when we're in the relationship, I will end up doing those things. So the kids end up having exactly what it is they needed, but not from him. But they got what they needed. But now I am not there anymore. And I stopped doing that, especially when they start making excuses for him, where it's, oh, maybe he forgot. Oh, I know what was going on. Oh, maybe he forgot. Oh, he did. But no, it kept happening and happening and happening. So that I started telling them, well, why don't you, write it down. Today is Sunday. Just give him a few days. But what I was trying to establish is the number of times it happens for them to say, mark it down, give him 2 days. Maybe he probably, out of town. Which he is out of town. He will come and help you and then send it to you and give it to you. So, but with time they see the how he's repeating himself. There's a pattern. It never really comes through. All those, I'll do this, dude. It never comes through. So when eventually they, with age as well as the kid is growing up, that he now keeps, saying this. And so he says, oh, I'm going to get to this. They're like, oh, I'm sure he's not going to do that. I'm sure he's not, it's probably not going to happen. But right after the divorce, or right after, right after the divorce, I know my kids were making comments like that where, oh, maybe he forgot. Oh, Mom, could you get me this? I think Dad said he was going to, but he forgot. So, it was happening then. They were already making excuses, like I said, because the kids, what else would they think? They will not think that a parent actually does not care. So it's because they forgot. Because something has happened. Something else, there was an emergency, so they didn't show up for the football game. Because what else would they be? But we know that they didn't show up because they didn't want to show up. They could not look beyond themselves to show up for the kids. All right, guys, get a hold of your mind and everything to fall into place. Please like and share. Take care.